Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan and welcome to today's video, which I'm very excited about because I'm trying something a little bit different from my normal crochet projects, but I think it's going to be really fun. It's always great to stretch your horizons, get out of your comfort zone, try out some new projects and techniques that you're not familiar with to see if you enjoy it and to create some things that you've never made before. Today I'm going to be trying out a few new iCord projects. This is something I have been very interested in and curious about. I've seen many reels and YouTube videos of people using iCord machines and doing different things with the iCord that comes out. And so I was so honored and excited when Caydo reached out asking if they could send me one of their automatic iCord machines and try it out for the first time in a video. So that is the plan. I have not opened this up at all. It is still in its shrink wrap. So my plan is to get this opened up, see how long it takes me to get it set up and everything, and then I have 3 different iCord projects in mind. That might be a little bit ambitious for one day, but we'll see how far I get. And I'm excited because I think I have 3 different kind of levels of difficulty here. The first thing I want to make is a flower garland where I use the iCord as the rope of the garland, and then I just make some crochet flowers as I normally do, attach them to the garland, and I thought it would make a really cute kind of spring decor piece for my bookshelf. So that's kind of easy level, at least I'm hoping so. And for that garland project, I am just going to use up a bunch of my existing scraps of cotton yarn. Whoops, this is mostly what I've been using for like the coasters that I made for my last market. Then the second thing I think I want to try do is crochet the iCord. So after I make some length of iCord with the machine, I want to use a bigger hook and crochet it into a little basket is what I'm thinking. I actually saw online this little square basket that I thought would make the perfect napkin holder. So that's kind of what I have in mind. For that project, I did pick up 2 new skeins of cotton yarn because I didn't know which type would work better for this. I did pick up a new skein of the Made with Love Cottony One Tom Daly yarn with Lion Brand, which is a cotton acrylic mix. And I got it in the color indigo for it because my house does have some blue accents. But in case that's not stiff enough for the project that I'm going for, I did also just pick up some Loops and Threads classic cotton in the color Bark, and this is a lot like stiffer. It's 100% cotton. So this might have to be what I go with in case the cotton blend is a little bit too floppy for my basket. And then the third project that I want to try to make is an iCord wire decoration. I've seen small businesses that make like kids' rooms decorations where they spell the kids' names with the wire and then they thread the iCord onto it. I've also seen you can just make like a flower design or something. So I'm probably gonna start small for this, but I did pick up some wire from the craft store. This was in the jewelry section, as well as this multi-tool that is a pliers as well as a wire cutter. My husband definitely has pliers and wire cutters hanging around our house somewhere, but sometimes it's nice to have a tool just for yourself. So I plan to use these for that project and then probably just use some acrylic yarn that I have on hand, maybe some scraps or something, to see how acrylic does with this iCord machine as well. So that's the plan. Wish me luck because all of these are new to me, as well as obviously the machine itself. So very first plan of action is to get this machine unboxed. I have watched a very short video about the setup of the machine, so hopefully I can figure it out relatively quickly, but I'm gonna get it set up. I'm gonna get some iCord made, and I'll check in with you about how that process went, how long it took me, how long it takes to make the iCord itself, and all of that before getting into the actual projects. Okay, some time has passed. I have made some iCord successfully. I did have a couple of issues while setting up the machine, so let's chat about it. First, everything that comes with the machine seems to be really nice. You get a lot of supplies, so obviously you get, let me unplug this, the machine itself and the power cord. It all comes basically assembled, which is nice. The only thing that does not come assembled is the yarn feeder, and this is the thing I had issues with. So this is supposed to basically snap into here, and then there's a spot for a screw to go in here to like really secure it into place so that when it's powered on, this thing isn't wiggling all over the place. However, my screws are not fitting into this hole. So I was trying to screw it through this, and then I took this off and was like, is my screw just not threading into this hole? And that seems to be the problem. And they actually provide multiple extra screws, and I tried all of them. Like I said, even without the actual yarn feeder attached to it, I just tried to screw them into the hole itself, and none of them were threading into it. So unfortunately, I think that's an issue with my machine specifically. I tried searching online to see if other people were having this issue, and it does not seem like anybody else has had this issue before. I watched some other people's like reviews and people trying this out and setting it up for the first time, and everybody has said the setup is extremely easy, and specifically that screwing in part. I saw someone say that took her like 2 seconds. So I don't think it's a me error, and I don't think it's a like this is supposed to be difficult with the machine error. I really think there might be something wrong with the threads of this hole in my machine. So I did take a video of me attempting this, and I sent it to my contact at Caydo. And so we will see what she says. But after taking a little lunch break, I decided to come back and just try the machine without the screw installed. So if you saw when I first started it out, this thing did kind of wiggle all over the place. So for the duration of the machine working, I did hold it in place, and it does seem to have worked. So that is my temporary solution until I hear back from the brand to hear if this is a known issue, if it's just a me issue, what we're gonna do about it. But in the meantime, while I was just holding it in place, it did otherwise work perfectly. And it does come with an instruction booklet which walked me through the entire setup, and specifically the threading of the yarn through the hooks here is the one thing you have to like pay attention to and know how to do correctly in order for the iCord to work. So it just took a little bit of analyzing the instructions and making sure I was doing it right, and it did work. That part was pretty much easy peasy. It threads through the machine and then comes out clamped between these two wheels right here. So in theory, when everything is attached correctly, once the machine is going, once you get everything threaded and you turn it on automatic mode, it should be hands-free and it should be easy to just let go. I'm guessing it's not recommended to like leave the room just in case your yarn gets tangled or anything like that. Speaking of yarn, they do include 2 small balls of yarn, which is really nice to just let you use some of their yarn to test out the machine for the first time. It's acrylic yarn, 25 grams or 50 meters, and it's a lightweight yarn or size 3. It did say in the instruction booklet that this machine is only recommended for yarn weights 2 through 4. So I went ahead and checked all of my cotton yarns and we are good there. They are all 4 weights. So I'll be interested to try out the cotton yarn and compare the 4-weight iCord compared to this 3-weight iCord. But it is extremely tight and consistent in my opinion. Like there's not much for holes in here. And this entire length of iCord took like legitimately 5 minutes or less. I didn't time that part, I should have. But yeah, this took almost no time, so it was very quick. I would say very user-friendly other than the machine issue that I experienced. My yarn did stop feeding only one time because I realized it was caught underneath my power cord, so the tension was too high, so the machine just like stopped on its own, and I got it loosened up and it restarted no problem. And yeah, it also comes with some replacement hooks, which is awesome, and some grease. So I'm guessing with like a lot of long-term use, these hooks do become worn out and potentially need greasing, but very nice that they provide that extra stuff for you. And honestly, it's nice that they provided these extra screws. I just wish that they were threading for me. And then the very last thing that they provide is a darning needle, which is awesome. I do have some of these already. It has a nice big eye on this side and the curved needle point on this side, which should be used for closing up the loops of your iCord or the ends of your iCord, and they show how to do that. So let me actually just go ahead and do that on camera, test it out for the first time because it looked very easy. Basically you thread your needle with the yarn and then you just follow like the path that it was going and you just loop it through each of the open ends. This is not going to be the best view for this, so if you have this machine you can check out an actual tutorial or just the instructions provided, but you basically just loop it through all 4 open loops, and once you do that then you can pull it tight and it forms its own little knot there, and that looks nice and secure on my end. That was blurry as heck, you couldn't see that. Let's see if I can get it to focus on the end here, nice and tightly knotted, and then you just thread it through the iCord itself. You just put the needle through all the stitches for as long as you want it to go, and then you pop it back out. Just like if you're weaving in your ends from normal crochet, and then you snip off the end, pull it a little bit to hide that tail, and you get a perfectly clean edge of iCord. So that's super easy, and again, nice that they provide that needle, and I'm excited to find something to do with this blue iCord. But okay, now I'm just gonna get back to it. Like I said, I'm just gonna continue holding this piece on until I hear back from Caydo on what they recommend, but I do want to get started on my other projects. So I think I'm going to give my cotton yarn a try. This says it's medium weight 4, but it honestly is pretty thin in my opinion, so I don't think there will be any issues getting it through the iCord machine, but I'm going to go ahead and make some iCord with this as the rope for my garland. I'll show that process. I honestly will probably also go ahead and crochet some flowers and get that all put together and come back to you after project number 1. Okay, some time has passed. I have made a good amount of iCord in a couple different colors, and I've been continuing to learn more about the machine. It definitely is the type of thing that the more you use it, the more comfortable you get, the more you get used to troubleshooting little things, so the easier it gets to use. And that last clip that I just showed was definitely sped up, but it was exactly 20 minutes of footage. And that was the time it took me to set up the machine, thread the yarn, and go through an entire skein of the Made with Love cotton blend yarn. So that's this blue one I was talking about. I was curious to see how this yarn would do in the machine because this is probably the thickest yarn that I'm gonna be using, and it worked just fine. The cord itself looks great, and I was curious to see how much iCord I would get out of one skein. So this skein is 185 yards of material, and I just measured what I got out of it in iCord, and I have exactly 30 feet of iCord material. So will that be enough to crochet it into something usable? We will see. I do have a little bit of this material up on my scrap wall that I know I can tap into if I need to also, but 30 feet is obviously at 10 yards. So out of 185 yards of regular yarn, I got about 10 yards of iCord. So it uses a lot of yarn to give you the iCord material, but I think it's going to be so cool to use. And like I said, that took exactly 20 minutes from start to completely finished, and I think that's pretty cool. I did also make some of the green that I was talking about and that I think I showed. So I ended up making one 9-foot piece of iCord that is going to go across my bookshelves, and then I made one 18-foot piece. I could either make 2 more 9-foot lengths out of, or I could make 3 6-foot lengths. I don't know, I'll decide what to do with it, but I have 18 more feet. So I'm feeling really good about that. So now I'm going to get into using these to finish my projects. I still have not heard back from Caydo, but it is a Saturday when I'm doing this, so I might not hear back until Monday. It's honestly fine to just hold the piece in place. It's not ideal because one of the biggest learnings I'm having is the importance of keeping your yarn untangled, because if a knot gets in there, it kind of disrupts the whole flow and everything. And it's easier to do that with 2 hands being able to work with the yarn rather than 1 hand holding the machine and 1 hand doing the untangling. So the experience would definitely be better if that screw was working for me and that piece was staying on, but it is still totally usable as is. And I'm happy I was able to get some useful iCord out of the machine today. So like I said, I'm going to, I think, get through the entire garland project and other little baskety type project before checking in again about whether I've gotten any more information on the screw situation, and then getting into that third project eventually. So be back in a bit. Alrighty friends, I am back with a couple of updates. It is Monday and I wanted to start by saying that my contact at Caydo did end up getting back to me this morning, and she said she sent off my video to the support team and they couldn't really tell why this was happening for me, so they are going to have me send back my unit so that they can investigate it, and of course they're going to send me another one so that I can continue my projects in this video and everything. And I just want to say that I am extremely understanding about things like this. I know that manufacturing issues happen, and in no world would a brand want to send a faulty product to somebody reviewing their machine and making a video promoting it. But obviously I have to be completely honest about the fact that this has happened, but I also am happy to talk about how the brand responds to it and how they might respond to you if you were a customer of this item and had an issue similar to this. I wanted to say that within their instruction book here, they do have a troubleshooting guide that does run through some of the most common issues that people might have with the machine. So the first one is if the machine fails to start or it stops knitting. It gives you a couple of options or things to try. It literally has a checklist to go through. The second issue being if your yarn is knotting up at startup. The third issue being if you are getting knots or missed stitches during knitting. Number 4 is if you have a hook malfunction or need to replace them. Number 5 is if you have a loose iCord bind off. And then number 6 is if you have any unresolved issues or obviously anything not meeting any of those criteria. They do have an email address here that you can contact for support. And then also it actually says to include video evidence to help you with whatever issue you're having. And with a machine like this, it's not like a super complicated machine, but it is an electrical and mechanical piece of equipment that is bound to have some issues. I can tell you after working as an engineer at a manufacturing facility, like every machine has issues at some point. That is normal. But a brand that is quick to troubleshoot with you and help you resolve your issues, I think is the most important thing. So far I'm satisfied with their level of support, and I'm really crossing my fingers that the new unit they send me is in perfect condition so that I can do my final iCord testing and kind of my final review of the product. But let's get back to what I have been doing in the meantime, because obviously I was still able to create some perfectly usable iCord, and I have been making some progress on my projects. So the first one I talked about, my kind of level 1 project, is the spring garland. So I obviously already created the green iCord, and then I also have gone ahead and crocheted the flowers for that. And I was trying to decide what kind of flowers I wanted to make, and I thought I could just make the same flowers that I made as coasters for my last market. I can link a couple of videos where I've shown those coasters in the past, and also the video tutorial that I used for those flowers. But then I thought I might as well try something new, continue, you know, honing my skills, leveling up my skills, and try a new style of flower. So I found a different video tutorial to make these really beautiful flowers. What I love about these, hopefully you can see, is the kind of pointed tips that they have on each petal. I think that's a really pretty detail. And then also I like that each petal is like disconnected from the one next to it. So it makes this really pretty kind of 3D layered looking flower. So I made 2 pink ones, 2 orange ones, 2 blue ones, and 2 white ones, all with yellow centers. And I left myself some tails of string on the backside that I think I'm going to use to attach them to the iCord. I think that should be pretty quick and easy. I'll space them evenly throughout it, and then I should have a nice spring garland with flowers. So I'm just going to finish this up, get it hung up, and show you the final product. But I definitely stand by this being like a level 1 easy type of project with this iCord. And then I also have an update on the kind of level 2 medium difficulty iCord project. As you can see, I made this really cute little iCord basket, and it ended up being this small because, like I said, that whole skein of Lion Brand Tom Daly cotton yarn only got me, I think it was 30 feet of iCord. And this is what that made for me in terms of a basket. I do have a teeny tiny amount left. Actually, I could unspool this and it would be a decent sized, like, regular yarn scrap that I can use for other projects, so I probably will do that. but I used nearly all of the iCord, and I just have this cute little basket that I can use in my house. I don't know, I could put a candle in here. Maybe that's a fire hazard. Or I could put like coins or keys or something. I think it's cute, and it was the perfect sized project to let me know if I like this type of project going forward. And to be honest, I don't think it's gonna be a regular thing for me. Working with a really large hook, I used a 10mm crochet hook because that's the largest size that I had. And this super thick iCord is not my favorite thing. It's just a lot of like muscling the yarn to do what I wanted it to do. And honestly, this type of crochet style, even if you're using thinner yarn, it's not my favorite. It's also why I don't prefer like amigurumi as an example, because just the small tight stitches with thick yarn and thick hooks, it's just not my favorite. I prefer, you know, loosey-goosey, quick to work up wearable projects, but I am not mad at all at having tried this out, and at least I got something kind of cute and useful out of it. And then my third project, the one with the wire, I have not attempted yet. I am going to wait, like I said, until they get me a replacement machine before I make up that iCord and then do that third project. So I'm going to wait for that and do that. I'll include some footage of it, of course. And then I'll be back with my probably final update, wrapping up the kind of support and customer service situation, as well as all of my projects for this video. Alrighty friends, great news. I did receive the replacement machine from Caydo in the mail. So I'm going to go ahead and get this opened up, put back together. Fingers crossed, everything crossed, that there are no more issues with this machine. And honestly, just that that screw screws in like it's supposed to, so that I can finish up my project for this video. I also wanted to mention, in case I didn't in the previous clip, that they did arrange the entire return process for me to return the machine to them for like troubleshooting on their side. I'm not sure if I will get an update on whether it's found to be defective or what. I don't know, probably not, unless they tell my contact who I've been emailing with the status of like my return and what they find out, but I'm not necessarily expecting to find out if they determine a root cause or anything for what I was experiencing. But regardless, I'm excited to have a new machine in my possession, and assuming everything is good with this one, I will be very pleased with the service and support that I've received and how quickly and easily they made this right for me. So, okay, I'm gonna do this silently and I'll come back with hopefully a working machine and showing you how it works when I can be completely hands-free, and continuing on with making my last little bit of iCord. Okay, the good news is I can actually see threads inside this hole, which I could not see in the previous machine. So I'm hopeful that this is going to work out. And success! Okay, as you could see, it was a great success. The machine works perfectly for me now, and obviously I had a little bit of an intro to the machine with my first time trying to set it up and doing some iCord while I was holding that piece, but that whole clip that I just filmed after I had screwed in the piece, but I got it on the table, I plugged it in, I threaded the yarn and everything, and then I made one of the entire mini skeins that they send with the machine into iCord, and that whole process took exactly 8 minutes. Like, I had 8 minutes of footage. So getting right back into it, getting the machine threaded up, getting it going, and making myself a good amount of iCord took very little time. So I'm so excited about that. And so now I get to go ahead and make some progress into the third and final project for this video. And I am going to go ahead and make some wire flowers, I think is what I've decided on. I'm going to use some of the green iCord that I made earlier in this video, the same kind as I used for the garland, but I'm going to use that as the stem for probably 3 flowers is what I'm going to aim for. And then I'm going to use these 3 skeins of cotton yarn, again the same yarn that I used for my garland because that will look nice and cohesive. And I'm going to try to make some tulips that look a little something like this. This is just a screenshot I grabbed off of Instagram. It's from the account puncho.store. I had just searched like iCord wire art flowers or something like that, and they had a reel that came up, and I just took a screenshot of this flower and I'm going to use it for inspiration to make my own little grouping of flowers. So I'm just gonna kind of wing this part. I started messing with my wire a little bit. I think I'm going to get this kind of bent into the shape that I want it. Then, I don't know, maybe unbend it so I can see how much iCord that'll take, and then make that much iCord with the yarn. Then I'll get it all threaded onto here. I'm just gonna do this all in B-roll format, and I will come back to you once I have finished this third and final project to show you how it turned out, to talk about how easy or difficult this specific project was, and then to wrap up my entire experience trying out this machine, trying out some iCord projects for the first time, and getting you some information in case you would like to purchase one of these machines for yourself. Okay, I have finished my third and final project with the iCord machine. Here's a little sneak peek at what I created, these cute little flowers. I definitely had a number of additional learnings through the process of making these little items. So when I came on, I said that I wanted to use some of the other colors from my stash, specifically some cotton yarn that I have some large scraps of, again, the ones that I used for that flower garland. And so I did make a small amount of the iCord out of the pink cotton yarn. It was giving me some issues, but I couldn't really tell if it was a machine problem or a me problem, specifically because there is a whole section in their little instruction booklet that has to do with your yarn selection, because this machine is not compatible with all types of yarn. And so it gives some information about like the size of yarn that is suitable for this machine's use and also the types of yarn. It makes sense that some of the fluffier yarns, you know, wouldn't work so well with this. But also it says that cotton blends of yarn are not a good yarn type. And I think it's because the strands within cotton yarn split a little bit more than like acrylic. But me being me, I played with it a little bit more. I did make a little bit of orange iCord as well with my cotton yarn. What I was seeing was happening was one of the little things on the hooks were not like opening and closing all the way as they should. So for a little while I was thinking, oh man, do I need to like replace one of the hooks on here? I thought that would be strange because it worked for me for the blue yarn that Caydo provided. So then I got some yellow scrap acrylic yarn and this worked honestly perfectly. So I do think this was a me issue and I will refrain from using cotton yarns in this machine going forward and just try to focus on the acrylic yarns. And then I did use some instructions in the book that show how to join two different colors of iCord. So that was really useful. I'm definitely not perfect at it, but I was able to connect like my pink yarn with the green here so that it changed color nicely within my project. And then just some learnings while threading this onto the wire. I found out after trying to thread onto this already bent piece, it wasn't super easy. I think it is something you can do once you get a little bit more advanced with this craft, because I've seen on Instagram people thread it on to wire that's already bent, but I had more luck using the wire that I hadn't bent into shape yet. And then it also worked really well for me to bend the very tip of the wire with my little pliers that I picked up just to make this edge a little bit more rounded. I didn't think that that would make that much of a difference because this thing is so small. I thought this should be able to thread through the iCord no problem, but no, having that bent edge actually helped a lot to be able to push it through the iCord smoothly. So yeah, I threaded it onto the wire and then I bent the wire roughly into shape. Am I an expert at this? Definitely not. But do I think this generally resembles a tulip? I do. I'm pretty happy with this one. And I experimented a little bit with using some hot glue just to fasten the one end of wire on this one. And this one I ended up just like looping the wire around the stem a little bit. This one I don't think looks quite as nice as a flower, but yeah, I think these look pretty nice. This is totally the type of project that I think I would get better at with practice. I think anybody would get a lot better with practice. So I can definitely see myself getting the itch to, you know, make some wire signs or something for like gifts or different holidays in the future. But I will proudly display these two little cute guys in my office here since I have them. And that wraps up my video of projects and my testing out of the iCord machine. I have to say this thing is just so cool. It really, when it's flowing, when you're using yarn that works with it well, when you have the piece all the way attached, and when your yarn is untangled, it is so cool to just watch this thing work and see it pump out some iCord. And I think it's really cool that the iCord itself is so versatile. I had a great time trying out these 3 different projects. I got 3 very different, you know, results and products out of it. You'll have to let me know which of the projects you liked the best, whether it is the flower garland that you can see a little bit of there, whether it's this little crocheted iCord mini basket, or whether it's these wire art flower things. The one that I like the look of the most is probably this one. It looks the most, I don't know, impressive to me. But the garland was definitely the easiest for a beginner, and I could see myself recreating this for some other occasion in the future without much hesitance because it is a little bit simpler. Also, let me know if you've tried any of these crafts or if you already happen to do them. If you're not a beginner and you have any advice for anyone wanting to try out these crafts, I would love to hear and learn from you a little bit. And last but not least, I have to say a big thank you to Caydo the brand for sending me not one, but 2 iCord knitting machines and letting me try it out in a video like this. I am very glad to have it in my possession now, and I will be keeping my eye out for all other iCord crafts and projects that come up on my feed because it is just so unique and different and makes some really cool looking projects. So if you yourself are interested in getting yourself a Caydo iCord knitting machine, I will have a specific link down in my description box that just helps them track like who inspired you to pick this up. You don't have to use it. You can go to the Caydo site if you would prefer, but the link in the description is just a referral link for me specifically, and they are having a spring sale right now, so definitely check out their website and take advantage if you're interested and want to snag it at a discount. There are just so many cute little spring or Mother's Day type items that you can make with it. It was so fun to try out. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.